I found them in her purse. A pair of black lace panties that didn't belong to her. Not buried deep. Not hidden like a real secret. No, they were just sitting there like an afterthought, like trash. She always wore beige or plain cotton. Said anything else was tacky. And now this. Lace, perfume-soaked, and still warm. I didn't say anything at first. I just stood in the kitchen, holding them in my hand while she pranced through the door humming some god-awful pop song, twirling her keys like a teenager sneaking in past curfew. She looked at me, then at my hand, then smiled. Not fear. Not guilt. Just that slow, ice-cold curl of the lip she gave me when she knew she'd already won the argument. "Oh," she said. "Guess you finally decided to do laundry." I didn't speak. She brushed past me like I was part of the furniture, dropped her purse on the counter, kicked off her heels, cracked open a bottle of Chardonnay without even bothering to ask if I wanted a glass. "You gonna say something?" she asked, pouring casually. "Or are we just doing your usual thing tonight where you sulk like a wounded hound dog and expect me to guess what's wrong?" "I found these in your purse," I said. She blinked, then turned to grab her wine. So? I repeated. "They're not yours." She took a sip. "You sure? You seem awfully interested in women's underwear all of a sudden." "They're lace, Shannon." "Your point. You don't wear lace." "You said." She cut me off with a wave of her hand and walked toward the living room. People change. I followed her, slow. "That's your excuse?" She flopped onto the couch and turned on the TV like I hadn't just thrown a grenade into the middle of our marriage. "I don't need an excuse," she said. "But sure, let's pretend you're owed an explanation. Go ahead. Be dramatic. Who are they for?" She looked over her shoulder, one eyebrow cocked. "Well, judging by the way you're handling them, maybe they're for you." That one landed like a slap. But I didn't show it. "Are you cheating on me?" She muted the TV, stood, turned. Then she laughed. "I mean, really, Danny," she said. "Look at you. You still wear boots with holes in the sole. Your idea of date night is a six-pack and a rerun. You think I'd waste my best years waiting for you to figure out how to be a man?" My voice came out low, cracked. "I gave you everything." "Oh yeah," she scoffed. "You gave me a cracked screen iPhone, a dusty little life, and a daughter you barely parent. Don't bring Emma into this." "Why not?" she said, stepping closer. "You use her like a shield every time we fight." "Think of Emma. What would Emma say?" "You're not fooling anyone." I clenched my fists. "You don't get to talk about her like that." "Oh, I can talk about whoever I want." You gave up the moral high ground the minute you started digging through my things like some jealous high school boyfriend. "I found a hotel key card 2 weeks ago." "So?" "Then a second phone. Locked." "Which I'm entitled to," she snapped. "Not everything in my life belongs to you." "It's a secret phone, Shannon." "No," she said, smiling cruel. "It's a freedom phone." I stepped back. "You're not even sorry." She tossed her hair and drained the wine. "Sorry is for women who get caught." "I'm not caught. I'm evolved." Then she threw the glass. It shattered just beside my head, against the coat rack. Wine dripped down the wall. And she just stood there, breathing hard, chest heaving in her silk blouse like she was proud of it. "You want to know who it is?" she hissed. "Fine. It's Travis. From your work." "And no, it's not just him." I felt my knees lock. "Travis. My shift supervisor. The guy who bought me lunch when I was short. The guy who came to Emma's birthday party and brought her that pink stuffed horse." She kept going. "Remember that business trip last month? That wasn't Boston. That was a resort in Savannah. Room 609, king bed, ocean view, and a man who didn't smell like diesel fuel and despair. You're disgusting." She leaned in. "I'm alive. You forgot how to be interesting the second Emma was born. I stopped being a wife and started being a maid. You want sympathy? Write a country song." I stared at her. At the woman I used to bring breakfast in bed. At the woman who once cried when I gave her a used book I found at a flea market because it had her mother's handwriting in it. She was gone. Whatever soul had once lived behind those eyes was gone. "You've been planning this," I said quietly. She tilted her head, mocking. "Now you're catching on." That night, after she passed out in the bedroom, reeking of liquor and smugness, I sat in the garage. The air was cold. Smelled like oil, rust, and pine cleaner. I pulled out my dad's toolbox. The one he left me the year before he died. The only thing I'd never pawned. Buried beneath the wrench set was the bracelet Emma made me in first grade. Blue and red yarn. Letter beads spelling out Dad. It was frayed now, dirty. But I kept it. It reminded me who I was, even if the woman in my house didn't. My phone buzzed. A notification from the cloud backup I didn't even know she still used. A photo. Uploaded 2 minutes ago. Her. In a robe. On a hotel balcony. and a man behind her. Not Travis. Someone else. I clicked on the metadata. File tagged, r.l, _ Savannah. Another name. Another city. Another lie. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I opened my notes app and wrote. She doesn't love me. She doesn't love Emma. She loves what we gave her cover. I didn't sleep. I sat on the cold cement, drinking old gas station coffee, planning something I never thought I'd have to do. I wasn't going to fight her. I wasn't going to scream or beg or plead. I was going to find the rest of the truth. And then, I was going to vanish. It's funny how betrayal smells like hairspray and floor polish. That morning, I walked into the kitchen, and I knew. Not because of a clue. Not because she confessed. Because the scent was wrong. Too clean. Too precise. Like someone wiped down the crime scene. Shannon was sitting at the table, sipping her coffee in a silk robe she used to save for anniversaries. Her lipstick was fresh. Her legs were crossed like she was in a hotel lobby waiting for room service. "You going to just stand there?" she said, not looking up, "or do your usual routine where you stomp around hoping I ask what's wrong?" "Just admiring the crime scene," I replied. She raised her coffee in a toast. "You're not as clever as you think. And you're not as clean as you think." Her smile was smug and razor-thin. "Keep dreaming, Sherlock." I opened the fridge. It was full of nothing: white wine, toner bottles, a Tupperware of old rotisserie chicken, and a lonely orange that looked like it had been to war. "We're out of eggs," I said. "Guess you'll have to scramble something else," she said, still scrolling her phone. "I already did." "Your burner phone." Her thumb stopped mid-swipe. A beat of silence, just long enough for a fake smile to load. "You're going through my stuff now?" "No," I said. "I went through my truck." "You left it under the passenger seat, next to the emergency tampons you keep pretending aren't yours." She stared, unimpressed. "You never trusted me." "Wrong. I trusted you right up until you started spending more time in hotel elevators than our bedroom." She stood slowly. "You sound unhinged." "I found the receipts. The lingerie. The extra toothbrush in the bathroom. And then this." I dropped a small bottle on the table with a tap loud enough to draw her eyes. "White pills. No label. Prescription grade." She glanced at them, expression unreadable. "What are they?" I asked. "Supplements," she said. "Yeah? Supplements don't come in blank bottles, Shannon." "You have no idea what they're for," she snapped. "Maybe they're for my migraines. Or to deal with this circus. Or maybe they're to keep you wired while you play secret agent for whoever the hell is texting you at midnight." She leaned in, too close. Her voice dropped. "You want to accuse me? Fine. But you better be ready to burn everything when you miss." "I don't miss," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "You used to beg for my attention. Now you want to play tough guy?" "I was never begging," I said. "I was hoping." "Big difference." She tossed her coffee into the sink and stormed out, muttering something about fragile men and their fantasies. I pocketed the pill bottle and smiled to myself. Not because I was winning, but because the fire had officially started. I went to the garage. That's where I kept the version of me that didn't take her crap. The dented red Stanley lunchbox. My father's toolbox, still oily, still proud. And dangling from the rearview mirror of my truck, Emma's yarn bracelet. Blue and red. Letter beat spelling Dad, but the D had fallen off years ago. I started digging through the locked vanity drawer. She'd forgotten to take the key with her that morning. Probably too busy checking her reflection for lipstick. Inside, 3 small journals, perfectly aligned, a strip of birth control pills, the kind she claimed gave her migraines, and a third phone. Not the one I found before. A third one. Unlocked. The screen blinked on. The wallpaper? Her. In a robe. A hand on her thigh that wasn't mine. One text thread. Just labeled. R. Red Room. Friday. 9 p.m. Be beautiful. I scrolled further. Club membership card. Jet black. No text. Just a crimson stamp. This wasn't a fling. This was a double life. I drove to clear my head. Ended up at that old 24-hour diner off Route 75. Neon lights half dead. Coffee brewed strong enough to fix a radiator. The waitress was a woman named Linda. Looked like she'd survived 5 divorces and 3 bar fights. "You want the stool that squeaks or the one that tips?" "Squeaky," I said. "At least it's honest." She poured me a cup without asking. I burned my tongue and didn't care. The phone buzzed. New number. He knows. Clean up. No loose ends. That was it. No name. No context. But I knew. I was the loose end. Friday night, I parked 3 blocks from the Red Room. That's not a nickname. That's what it's actually called. No signs. No website. No phone number. Just an iron door behind a former bakery. Shannon showed up in a black dress that looked like it cost more than our mortgage. Her heels made that sharp clap across the sidewalk, confident. Dangerous. A man got out with her. Mid-50s. Salt and pepper hair. Navy suit. Wedding ring. So she wasn't just someone's affair. She was someone's weapon. They walked in like they owned the place. I followed from a side alley. Door buzzed open when a couple left. I slipped in. It smelled like cinnamon and old money. Red velvet walls. Low lights. No cameras. Just whispers and money moving under the table. I found her at the bar. He was kissing her neck. She was laughing. I left. Didn't say a word. Didn't throw a punch. Because I had everything I needed. Saturday morning, Emma handed me an envelope. Mom said not to give this to you. Inside was a real estate contract. The house. Our house. Being sold. Not to a company. To him. The man at the bar. She was transferring the deed. Quietly. And Emma? She looked up at me, peanut butter on her cheek, eyes wide. Are we moving, Daddy? I couldn't lie anymore. Not to her. Not to myself. That night, I sat on the porch, watching the wind knock our chimes around like warning bells. I stared at the house. At the lights I installed. The door I painted. The swing I hung for Emma when she was 5. She was trying to take it all. And she wasn't even hiding anymore. But that was her mistake. She thought I'd sit still. She thought I'd fold. She forgot what happens when a man stops hoping and starts preparing. There's something quietly funny about a woman trying to steal a house that was never hers. Not haha funny. More like the kind of funny where you laugh at a funeral just so you don't scream. That Saturday night, I sat in my truck staring at the deed transfer. Shannon tried to slip past me like a magician palming a card. She thought she'd won. She thought that by handing off those papers to Mr. Rolex in the Navy suit, she'd bought her ticket out of our life. She didn't know the house wasn't even in my name. It was in my mother's. Has been for 20 years. I still remember the day she handed me the keys after Dad died. You live here. You raised that little girl right, she said. But this roof stays in my name until one of us dies, just in case someone tries to take what ain't theirs. At the time, I thought it was overprotective. No? She was Nostradamus in an apron. Shannon could have notarized that forged deed in gold ink. Wouldn't mean a damn thing. That signature? Worth less than a grocery list. I didn't tell her right away. I wanted to see what she'd do when she thought she won. And right on cue, she tried to play peacemaker. Sunday night, around 6, she brought dinner to the table. And I mean actually cooked. Not Postmates on a plate. Not salad from a plastic bowl. Real food. Roast chicken. Mashed potatoes. Gravy. Even a little candle in the middle of the table like we were role-playing a marriage that never broke. She set a plate in front of me, sat across from me, and folded her hands. I just want us to get through this, she said sweetly. For Emma. I looked at the plate. Didn't move. Didn't touch it. She gave a soft laugh, like I was being ridiculous. Oh, come on. It's not poisoned. Didn't say it was. Then why won't you eat? I don't take bait from snakes, I said, and pushed the plate gently back toward her. Her smile thinned, but she kept it on. I'm trying here. No, I said. You're covering tracks. The food sat there untouched for hours. And by morning, our cat, Pepper, 15 years old, blind in one eye, was lying curled beside my chair. Dead. I knelt beside her. No marks. No blood. Just gone. And right there beside her mouth? A little piece of chicken. Still warm. That morning, I drove straight to Dean's office. He's not a lawyer. Not a cop. Not a tech wizard. But he knows people. He's the kind of guy who once found his cousin's missing Camaro because he knew a guy who owed him a burrito. Check something for me, I said, sliding the fake deed across his desk. I want to know who signed this. Who they think owns the house. 15 minutes later, he whistled. Damn, he said. Your name's not on the property. I know. Your mom's still kicking? Meaner than ever. He handed the paper back. She's gonna flip when she hears about this. She already knows. She does. She sent me a gif of a burning house and a winking face. Dean laughed so hard he snorted coffee out his nose. On my way home, I passed by the Bennett's house. Mr. Bennett waved from his porch like always. Friendly. Neighborly. But there was something off. His hands were shaking. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Then I remembered the pills. The unmarked bottle. The one I found in Shannon's purse. They weren't supplements. They weren't even hers. I watched as Shannon crossed the street later that day, clutching a zippered makeup bag. Slipped through the Bennett's side door. Stayed for 10 minutes. Left smiling. Same bag. Lighter. She was selling something. I broke into the drawer again that night. There were more bottles. No labels. No prescriptions. Just a note. 55 plus blend. One per day max, mix lightly. Side effects: agitation, dependency, paranoia. She was passing them off as weight loss supplements for women over 55, selling them around the neighborhood, making bank off people who didn't know better. People she'd softened up with wellness advice and fake compliments. The handwriting on the note? Not hers. It was a man's. A man with initials that matched the black business card in her drawer. RL. That was the twist. The man at the Red Room bar wasn't just a fling. He was her partner. Maybe more than that. They were testing something. Distributing something. Using the neighborhood as their lab. And I was living in the center of it. That night, I confronted her. I didn't shout. Didn't throw anything. Just walked in while she was lighting a scented candle, all yoga pants and rehearsed calm. Pepper's dead. She paused. Probably her age, she said, not meeting my eyes. She didn't touch anything except that chicken. Silence. You poisoned her. I didn't. You fed her a plate meant for me. She turned, finally. Cold eyes. That's not how it works. I stepped closer. How does it work, Shannon? You drug me until I forget who owns the house? Until I'm twitching on the porch like Mr. Bennett? She didn't deny it. Didn't confirm it. She just said, "You're not as hard to break as you think." I smiled. That's your mistake. You tried to poison a man who grew up eating expired tuna and drinking water from a hose. That night, I didn't sleep. I waited until she left in the morning, said she was heading to the grocery store. I followed her instead. She didn't go to the store. She went to a second-floor office above a tanning salon. I watched from across the street as she handed a man a folder. He shook her hand, smiled. That wasn't just business. That was a transaction. I called Dean. Can you run a name? I asked. Sure. What is it? RL probably fake. Everything is these days, he muttered, typing fast. 5 minutes later. Richard Langston, he said. Owns a few shell companies. Has a record sealed in 2 states. Known alias, Ryan Lake. No real job. No real taxes. Anything else? He used to be a pharmacist. License revoked. I hung up. That was it. The pills. The network. The club. The plan. When Shannon got home, she found me sitting at the kitchen table with a glass of milk and her favorite plate smashed on the floor. What's this? You're done. She laughed. With what? Everything. I stood. Pepper's gone. The neighbors are getting sick. You tried to sell a house you don't own. And I've got enough evidence to put you and RL in prison for fraud, pills distribution, and conspiracy. She stopped laughing. You don't have proof. I do. I slid the folder across the table. Inside, photos, receipts, timestamps, chat logs. Even the Red Room entry log from the night I followed her. She went pale. You think this'll hold up in court? I leaned in. I'm not taking it to court. Her eyes narrowed. Then what? I'm walking away, I said. But not before I take back everything you tried to steal. She swallowed hard. You can't beat me. I smiled. I already did. My mother doesn't answer the door for just anybody. She's the kind of woman who keeps the chain on, even for the mailman. So when I got the call, I knew something was wrong. Danny, she said, her voice tight. You need to come now. That woman's in my kitchen trying to sell me my own damn floor. 30 minutes earlier, Shannon had shown up in a sweater set and crocodile tears. Said she just wanted to talk. Said she was sorry for all the tension lately. My mother let her in, not because she believed her, but because she wanted to watch the snake slither up close. 10 minutes in, Shannon pulled out a manila envelope and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. These are just standard documents, she said, laying them out on the table. Nothing major. A simple property transfer. Just for efficiency. My mother leaned in, glasses perched on her nose. You want me to sign over my house? Shannon laughed lightly. It's not that dramatic. It's more about consolidating names on paper. Legally speaking, you're of a certain age. A certain what? Mom snapped. And I thought we could get ahead of any complications. If something were to happen to you. That's when Mom stood up. She didn't shout. Didn't throw the papers. She just said, I'm not dead, sweetheart. And I'm not stupid. 10 minutes later, Shannon was on the phone with Adult Protective Services. This is urgent, she told the woman on the other end. I'm with my partner's mother and I'm very concerned. She's alone, disoriented, has bruises. She thinks the property still belongs to her and accuses me of trying to take things. I'm worried she's unsafe. While she waited for them to call back, she dialed the maid. Can you come right away? She pleaded. She's threatening to call the police. She's confused. I think she has senile dementia. She even dabbed her eyes. Told the maid she'd been shoved into the counter earlier, even lifted her sleeve to reveal a fake bruise she probably dabbed on with old eyeliner. The performance was airtight. Almost. What she didn't count on was my mother calling me from the other room. She didn't count on the fact that Mom had recorded every word. I got there 12 minutes later. Shannon looked up from the couch, startled. The maid was already there, standing awkwardly in the corner with a purse clutched tight. "Danny," Shannon said sweetly. "I'm so glad you're here. Your mom, she's not well. I didn't want to worry you, but she was rambling about floorboards and taxes, and then she tried to shut up." Her mouth froze mid-lie. I walked past her and gave my mom a kiss on the cheek. She handed me her phone with a wink. "Recorded everything, darling," she whispered. "Even got her offering me $50 to just sign the damn line." Shannon's fake smile dropped like a curtain. "You came here," I said, turning back to her, "and tried to bully an old woman into signing away the house you tried to forge me out of. Then you made 2 calls, one to the state, one to the maid, both full of lies so slick they should have come with a warning label." She stood slowly, switching to her practiced tone. "I was worried." "No," I said. "You were hunting. You don't understand it." "Actually, I do," I interrupted. "I understand perfectly. You've run out of ways to corner me, so now you're trying to corner my mother. But you forgot something." "What's that?" "She's where I get it from." Shannon left in silence. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't look back. The maid followed her out, confused but no longer sympathetic. She'd seen enough. Mom poured herself a cup of tea and sat back at the kitchen table like nothing happened. "I always said she had snake eyes," she muttered. "You did." I nodded. "You also said she'd wear perfume to a funeral and cry for herself." "Well," Mom sipped. "I didn't say I was wrong." That night, I sat in my truck behind the red room, watching people come and go. The usual crowd. Silk shirts, watch-glinting men. Women with secret smiles and pills tucked in designer wallets. I wasn't watching them this time. I was watching him. R.L. Richard Langston. He came out alone. Walked half a block to a black SUV. Opened the trunk. Inside, a dozen white bottles. Unmarked. I took pictures. Then I followed him. Not close enough to be seen. Just enough to see where he went. And where he went wasn't a club. It was a warehouse. A backdoor business operation. Packaging. Labels. Money transfers. He wasn't just peddling pills to Shannon's PDA clique. He was moving volume. Nationwide. The next morning, I printed the photos and mailed them anonymously to 2 local news stations, a health inspector, and the HOA president who Shannon had tricked into handing out free samples. I didn't sign them. Didn't have to. Sometimes justice is loud. Other times, it slips under the door with your name misspelled. Shannon didn't come home that night. Or the night after. On the 3rd morning, Emma asked me, "Is Mommy on a trip again?" I sat her down. Told her the truth, the version a 9-year-old could understand. "Mommy made some bad choices," I said. She lied. To me. To Grandma. To some people who gave her money. And now she's somewhere trying to figure out what happens next. Is she coming back? I paused. "I don't know." She thought for a moment. Then, "Can we still make pancakes this weekend?" I smiled. "Absolutely." That night, I found in the trash a paper crumpled and wet. Emma's drawing. Me. Her. Grandma. Shannon's figure had been scratched out in thick red marker. In its place, a black scribble. And underneath it, in shaky handwriting. "This one lies." It was a Tuesday morning when she finally stopped pretending. The street was quiet. Sun just high enough to bounce off the windshields. Neighbors on their porches. Sprinklers ticking. And then came the Mercedes. Shiny. Chrome trim. Black windows. Pulled up to her curb like it belonged there. She walked out the front door in heels and a skirt so tight it squeaked. Didn't say a word to me. Just strutted down the steps, clutching her purse and pride like a purse dog. She leaned into the driver's window and kissed him, full on the mouth. Right there. In front of our house. In front of the world. Mrs. Whitaker next door gasped loud enough I heard it through the hedge. Mr. Chan dropped his hose. Even Emma, who was getting into the school van, stopped and stared. The driver? R.L. Same man from the club. The pills. The setup. And now he was picking her up like a prize. She came back around 6. Didn't knock. Didn't tiptoe. She walked in like she still owned the place. "Don't worry," she said, not looking at me. "I'm not here to fight. Didn't think you were here to parent either." She ignored it. Started pulling things off shelves. Box by box. Her clothes. Her shoes. Her perfumes that made the dog sneeze. The ones she wore after nights at the Red Room. R.L. pulled into the driveway at 6:40, right on cue. Got out. Didn't even flinch when he saw me. Wore a white button-up and expensive sunglasses. Had the smug look of a man who thinks he just won the lottery. Need a hand, babe? He called. She smiled. Always. They loaded her life into the trunk like it was nothing. No goodbyes. No apology. She stood beside him with that smirk, the one I used to think was confidence but now knew was pure cruelty. Were you off to? I asked. She laughed. Somewhere with marble floors. A place that doesn't reek of regret. I nodded. Shame about what's under the hood, I said, nodding toward the Mercedes. She blinked. What? I mean, German engineering's great, unless you leave a slow leak in the oil pan. RL turned. What are you talking about? I didn't answer. I just lit a match, dropped it at my feet, and stepped back. The fire caught slow, smoldered under the front tire, then climbed. It roared to life so fast, you'd think the car had secrets it wanted gone. Neighbors screamed. Sprinklers hissed. Someone shouted, "Call 911." Shannon shrieked like she'd been stabbed. RL tried to open the trunk, too late. Everything inside? Gone. Clothes, jewelry, makeup, journals, fake IDs, her future. All of it burning bright orange in our driveway while the whole neighborhood watched. When the fire truck pulled in, I was already on the porch sipping coffee. They hosed it down fast. No one hurt. Just a luxury car scorched to its skeleton. But what she didn't know, the house she was leaving for? The one he bought her? That wasn't just a house. It was a trap. RL had bragged about it weeks ago. I'd heard him at the Red Room. Said he bought her a place out on the lake. Called it her reward. Said she deserved somewhere with class. He bought it under his name. Renovated it. Put her name on the mailbox. And then, 2 nights ago, he filed an insurance claim. Said the wiring looked suspicious. Said he was taking precautions. Dean pulled the records for me. And last night, that brand new lake house? Burned. Electrical fire. Whole thing gone. Charred black, foundation cracked, roof collapsed, and on the marble floor he bragged about. They found melted boxes in the driveway. Her boxes. The ones with her makeup. Her papers. Her journals. The ones she had just packed. Gone. Every single thing she thought she stole? Ashes. I was standing at the sink washing a pan when she walked back in. This time, her eyes were wide. Pupils like pinholes. She didn't say anything at first. Just stood there, trembling, holding her phone like it was a bomb. You knew, she whispered. I dried the pan. Knew what? You knew the house would burn. I did. She shook her head. You planned this. I shrugged. Wasn't me. Was the wiring. Bull. Insurance agrees, I said. But that man you sold your soul to? He's looking into you now. Hard. She blinked. I kept going. You think he loved you? I said. You think he bought you a house and smiled at your little dinner schemes because he saw forever in your eyes? No. He saw convenience. You set me up. No, I said. You set yourself up. I just made sure you didn't land soft. She sat down, right there on the floor, pulled her heels off and stared at the tile like it betrayed her. I almost felt sorry. Almost. But then I remembered the pills, the neighbors, the cat, my mother, Emma, and that feeling passed. You ruined me, she said. No, I said. You ruined yourself. I just kept the receipt. She looked up, something cracked behind her eyes. I don't have anywhere to go. I raised an eyebrow. That's not what you told the neighbors. Danny, please. That was new. She'd never used my name like that before. Soft, desperate, human. But it was too late. You have a man. Go build a new fire. I said. She stood, shaky. Grabbed her purse. Tell Emma I'm sorry, she said at the door. You tell her, I said. But you better mean it this time. She left. Didn't slam the door. Didn't run. Just walked. Like someone who realized too late that smoke doesn't ask questions. That night, I sat with Emma on the porch. She didn't ask where Mom was. Just leaned her head against my arm and looked at the stars. They're not moving, she said. They don't have to, I answered. They already know where they belong.